exclusive interview that I was able to conduct with Brian Chard, who is a former sound designer at NetherRealm and Midway Studios, studios that created Mortal Kombat. So, Twitter, and we had a nice little conversation, and he said I would be able to interview him, so I can ask questions that you guys wanted to hear about Mortal Kombat and other things that he's got going on. So, the email that I sent to Mr. Chard, I said, "Hello, Mr. Chard. My name is Pablo Castillo. I am a 20-year-old college student, and I live in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Before I ask any questions, I want to say that I've been a huge fan of the series since I can remember. I want to thank you for making my childhood, my teenage years, and now my adulthood so awesome. Without further ado, it has begun." And if you guys don't get that reference, you're a terrible person. Okay, my first question was, Mr. Chard, what was the favorite game that you had to work on? And he said, "Hi Pablo, pleasure to virtually chat with you. Let me dive in and see what I can tell you." He said, "My favorite game to work on? Well, my favorite in my career was the first You Don't Know Jack. It was the first time I had a cool, fun day job, and the summer we made that game was magical. I made many friends in my time around with Jellyvision, the game division, which now is Jackbox Games, the game studio that Mr. Chard works for now. My favorite game to work on at Midway / NetherRealm, probably Stranglehold or NFL Blitz Pro. The former, it was because our first game using Unreal, and we sound guys got to implement a lot of sounds. It was fun making that world come to life. I loved Blitz Pro because of the commentary tool they built for me, which let me control the parameters / conditions in which certain bits of commentary were set. But you're probably asking what my favorite Mortal Kombat was to work on. I say Mortal Kombat 9 because it was my first time as a full-on member of a story team. And during the game's development, you could sense we were making something so special. Plus, the uncertainty of Midway days was over, and we got to turn the page." Yeah, that was kind of bad. So the next question I asked him was the pit for Mortal Kombat's 1, 2, 3, and Trilogy 11 reboot, or Mortal Kombat 9 for short, returned in Mortal Kombat X. What other stages were proposed to return? Mr. Chard said, "I don't know that any other stages were planned for DLC. I'm trying to remember the scenes we asked for writing the story. I think most of the ones we asked for but didn't end up needing were new, not returning stages." So I guess they weren't really thinking about other DLC stages for us guys. So, I mean, we still got 9 wonderful DLC characters. End stage. Since Mortal Kombat X takes place in an alternate timeline, as we see in Mortal Kombat 9, how does Shinnok in his mirror match intro refer to the Battle of Armageddon, which hasn't taken place yet? That is referring to, in the original timeline of the Mortal Kombat games that came out from 1992 to 2006, in that storyline, they had the Battle for Armageddon where Shinnok, who debuted in Mortal Kombat 4, was the fallen Elder God and was trapped in another realm and tried to take over Earthrealm millennia ago. And he came out in Mortal Kombat 4, who was apparently retconned in, so he was already there, but we just didn't know anything about him at all. Makes sense. Excuse me. So to that question, he said, "Personally, I don't think the old timeline exists anymore. It was overridden by this, quote, new timeline. Pretty much all of the intros that involve characters speaking as if they're from the old timeline were included just to mess with people. But who knows what might be coming in future Mortal Kombat games. Maybe the team will decide that both timelines exist." Well, I would think the timeline exists because in Raiden's flashbacks in MK9, he still definitely saw what was going to happen in the future of that timeline, so he just branched off. But that other timeline still happened, because obviously he got there to Armageddon, where he said he has to win, and then he gets killed, obviously, so that timeline's still going, I guess. And then now there's this one, so that's my theory on it. Following that question up, Raiden in one of his mirror matches claims to be the protector of the Chaos Realm. In every iteration and canon of Mortal Kombat, our favorite Thunder God was the protector of Earthrealm. Are there any other timelines where combatants are from different realms, or dare I say, other universes? And Mr. Chard replied, I think it's safe to say that if future stories include alternate timelines, then you can assume that every character has an infinite number of variations. It's an easy way to bring back any character from any era and or completely change someone's backstory, like Cobra, and we'll get to that in a minute. Whoops. Next question. Chameleon / Chameleon. Because there was the guy Chameleon, and then there was the girl Chameleon, who in Armageddon for some reason was only Wii exclusive. So me with friends having an Xbox and a life, I didn't get that. I didn't get that opportunity to use her, and it made me sad. He is mentioned, he or she, it is mentioned on a few occasions in Mortal Kombat X. Do you think he or she will be involved in either MKX or a future entry in the franchise? And Mr. Chard said, I was the one who threw the Chameleon references in there, so thank you, Mr. Chard, for those. That was amazing. I prefer the female iteration, and I would love to see something happening with her and Reptile, but who knows whether that'll make it in. Sorry, that was awkward. I wanted... Okay, I'm sorry about this. I wanted to do something with them in MKX, but it just didn't quite fit the story. Now, I see where you're saying, but what I think you could have done and made it awesome and badass was when, in a story mode, Reptile and Kotal Khan are talking to Devora, and they want her to join them in overthrowing Melina, that either Chameleon could have been on the Rebellion side or on Melina's side, and then when Melina died, she could have gone with like Tanya or something and done something awesome, but you guys kind of lacking on that one, low key. Anyway, number 7. I think we're on 7 already. No, we are on 6, my bad. 6. Were there any talks of a story pack or making the NPCs like Rain, Sindel, Corrupt Shinnok, Baraka, and any other revenants? Because in the story mode, you can actually fight a lot of these characters, and they're in the story mode, they're in the game. They have, they can easily be, made characters, but that wasn't a thing, I guess. So we just got to watch Baraka take all those L's like Meek Mill did in 2015 and like just die like a little bitch by Devora. So that was Baraka, guys. Yay. He said, as far as a story pack has been online, as far as I know. Wait. So I think he just said that they are making more DLC. He just let me know that. That's crazy, guys. New DLC confirmed by Brian Chard. Definitely, that's a thing. That's crazy. Wow, that's awesome. And question 7, were you at all at NetherRealm worried about the potential backlash about Kung Jin being the first openly homosexual Mortal Kombat character? And I just want to know, personally, I support the LBGT community, and I have no problem. Do what you got to do. That's your business. He responded, the story team was definitely not concerned with any negative reactions to Kung Jin being gay. We knew there would be some idiots will be idiots. Our only concern is whether the scene with Raiden was subtle enough. When about half of our internal readers figured it out, we decided it was right in the pocket. Ed accused us of trying to sneak it by him, and we were just testing it subtly. By not just like, Kung Jin's gay, guys, party, before handing out the draft for folks to read. Ed was very supportive of this inclusion, though. The scene turned out well, and I'm proud to have it written. And I agree with you 150%. I think that was an amazing scene, and it lets a lot of the fans, know more about Kung Jin. We're starting to get more of a story over here with the young Shaolin monk, Kung Jin, and he's just badass. So that's a thing. Number 8. If you could change the fate of any character, who would it be? Obviously, we know we want things differently. and people to not be dead and or cyberized again. So Mr. Chard says, I would probably go back and not kill off so many characters at the end of Mortal Kombat 9. The scene didn't turn out like we'd hoped. It was the very last scene we completed for technical reasons, and so it was rushed, and the deaths didn't have quite the impact they should have. We did okay in MKX, keeping dead characters dead, but the roster isn't determined solely by story. So are the challenges ahead that is decide to say that Cyber Smoke or Shao Kahn is on the roster for MK27 or whatever? MK27 is confirmed, guys. That's a thing now. So we're getting MK27. That's sarcasm. Okay. In a tweet, you told the developers you didn't want Revenant Jade to be in the story mode. I'm curious, why is that? Mr. Chard replied, I wanted to keep Jade's fate ambiguous, in case we decided to do something with the whole Green Lady storyline and her MK9 ending. I wanted the Green Lady to be a villain in MKX, or at least be in it, but alas. I'm hoping she'd be involved in any future MK game. Yeah, I do too, because it kind of just left me hanging and it does make sense. Even though the calling card that Tanya has, where she's holding Jade's head, and it's decapitated. So there's that, I guess. Follow-up question: where is Jade? The only time she's mentioned is in a combat card where Tanya is holding her. Yeah, I just talked about that. And in Kitana's mournful variation, where he takes her star and her pole and does her kick for, I don't know, for reasons. That's my explanation. He said neither instance you mention is canon. So some intros are canon and others aren't, I guess. Yes. So Jade could be anywhere. If she's just a Revenant, I guess she was out of town during the events of MKX. So was she what, in the Chaos realm? Probably with Havoc. Havoc DLC confirmed Combat Pack 3. That's not actually happening, guys. Don't go crazy. Question 11. Aaron Black tells Kano that he killed a Black Dragon member, stating he thinks his name was Cobra. In a tweet, you said you didn't exactly enjoy some characters from Deception. Was he one of them? And Mr. Chard replied, I can't say I'm a fan of Cobras, but the reason I chose him for that intro was I figured he would probably be the least popular Black Dragon. And I agree with you. Screw Cobra 2016. Yeah, buddy. What is your least and favorite fatality from Mortal Kombat X? Mr. Chard ended up responding, stating, honestly didn't pay a lot of attention to the fatalities, so I can't say I have a face. Oh, boo. Oh, come on. What do you mean you didn't pay attention? That's how your game got popular and famous, because there was so much blood and gore in it. What's wrong with you? Gotta at least see what, like, that sound stuff you're doing is going into, my friend. Your masterpiece. Either way, can you give any indication of the project NetherRealm is working on? And he ended up saying back that no, can't talk about current or future NetherRealm projects. No, they still know where I live. Happy, and almost every single one, I think every single one of these, no, except for like one or two, they all have smiley faces. I don't know if he's saying he's in trouble. NetherRealm's out to get him. That could be a thing. As a fan, I think that's crazy. I'd be more scared of John Vogel or Tobias than anyone, really, to be honest. So, how did you feel that about 4 of the 9 of the downloadable characters not being Mortal Kombat characters? Because us as fans, we all complain that we got Alien, Jason, Predator, and Leatherface instead of like Fujin, Rain, Nightwolf, and Smoke. But we do get Smoke technically, I guess, if you want to like get Smoke, but not the same. I think that should have been a thing. Either way. Jeez. I'm sorry, my phone is being really slow right now. I have slow internet. What other guest characters would you rather see? And Mr. Chard said, as a fan, I don't like guest characters, but there's no arguing about the money they generate, so us fans better get used to it. Alright, so more DLC confirmed, more guest characters. Great. I would like to say everyone to get off Ed's case about him, though. I don't know exactly where he stands on the issue, but I'm assuming he's dead set against them. He has bosses. Damn you, Warner Brothers. You terrible people. So then I asked him, what combatants would you have rather seen replace them instead of having those guest characters? It says, despite hardcore fans... Wait, no. Sorry, wrong question. I'm a slow child. There were a couple of guest characters discussed for Mortal Kombat X that didn't happen. I can't say, really, because who knows, they might pop up in a future game. I think Mortal Kombat X or Injustice 2 confirmed, basically. Guys, this is breaking news. This is ridiculous. And then I asked him if you were you a Midway fan before you joined Midway? I'm sorry, my phone is being really slow. He said, before I worked at Midway, I'd played Mortal Kombat a couple of times and enjoyed it. But I was more into sports games than RPGs. I didn't even realize before my interview at Midway that Mortal Kombat was made in Chicago. Yay, Chicago. We're making one of the best-selling video game franchises of all time. We rock. Number 18. What was your most fond memory working at Midway or NetherRealm? So, Mr. Brian Chard replied, gosh, that's a tough one. I was there almost 14 years, so a lot of good stuff happened. My best memories probably involved working in Hollywood with the voice actors on the last few games. They're the best of the best, and nice people to boot. It also kind of speaks to why I left. My fondest memories took place thousands of miles away from the studio. Aww. I miss NetherRealm. I miss back when they weren't like cash clowns. But I still love you guys, so don't ban me. I'm a big wrestling fan. A lot of times, backstage politics would make or break a wrestler's career. Were quote-unquote backstage politics a reason you left NetherRealm? And Mr. Chard ended up replying that politics were absolutely the reason I left NetherRealm. It's a real shame. I love that job. I didn't just love and ultimately couldn't take the environment in which I was doing it. I felt I had no choice but to move on. People might say politics are part of any job. Not true. I've seen firsthand that you can work in a fast-paced, creative environment and still have communication, respect, kindness, honesty. It's tough, but possible, and anyone who doesn't expect it in their workplace is selling themselves short. I agree with that statement. He continued on saying, of course, one must also be the change one wants to see, and I guess you could say I ultimately failed at that. I don't think you failed, Mr. Chard. I think you did a great job at doing what you needed to do. So, I proceeded on to ask, what are you currently working on with Jackbox Gaming? No, I didn't want to make the whole thing about Mortal Kombat. I wanted to see how he's doing. At Jackbox, I'm working on Party Pack 2. Party Pack 2 confirmed, I guess, which has funny, awesome games I can't talk about yet. So there's going to be funny, awesome games, but he just can't let us know on the Party Pack 2. It's going to be lit. When did you know you want to be a sound designer? Is the next question I asked him. That's a tough one. I actually wanted to be a rock star. That was the joke. But I was playing in bands and making okay money, yet still wanting more financial security. I thought, if I could do anything else, what would it be? I know, I like to write stories for video games. Yeah, that'll never happen. Yet, I just ended up doing it. I remember a moment at Jellyvision where my bosses were asking if I could handle that time commitment of being the next lead writer in 2 games at once. I thought, this is a decision point. Do I keep chasing the music dream or plunge head first into this one? I think I made the right decision, and I agree with that. You made a great decision. No doubt whatsoever in my mind. Advice 22, or advice 22, question 22, sorry. I'm just really stoked about this interview. I'm really excited. I'm glad to have been able to talk to Mr. Chard here. Bear with me, folks. What advice would you give someone who's trying to get into the gaming industry as a sound designer? He said, have a great reel. Get to know people working on games. Get involved however you can. As in any career, most of it is showing up on time, being responsible, and detail-oriented. Being a good worker in general. Internships are a great way to break in, though they are hard to land. At Midway NetherRealm, we hired several guys who were audio interns. So, if you guys want to go to NetherRealm Studios and be an intern, you should do that. So what was your first project that you worked on? Mr. Chard ended up replying, first game ever, you don't know jack. First Midway game, I remember cutting VO for a Slugfest. Oh jeez, I don't know why I messed up. Early on, making some sound effects for Shaolin Monks that I don't think were used. So you guys should find that on the disk memory and expose it. The first project I was on for an extended time was NFL Blitz Pro. My first full Mortal Kombat game was Deception, which was a great one, filled with a great roster, and I can say that with not lying. That was a great roster. I enjoyed it. That was my game growing up. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Very good question. A lot of people don't think about that. But he said, that. Oh shit, I lost the question, sorry. I really don't know where I'll be in 5 years. Hopefully I'm still at Jackbox. Good people, fun job. But I'm also pushing 60 by then. But I think I'm going deep. That's unfortunate, sir. Maybe I'll get into politics or be a stand-up comedian. Kind of the same thing. Ha, only if you're Republican. Alright. So then, I asked him, who is the best YouTuber out right now? And he said, PJGambinoGaming. And thank you very much. I've been PJGambinoGaming, and this has been my interview with Brian Chard. I'm sorry it was a little botchy. My internet's kind of messed up when I was reading the emails, talking to him. He was a really nice guy. He was really cool talking to. You guys can follow him on Twitter at @bchard. Kind of like, you know, like Chard on the grill, not Chard like the way his name's spelled. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Pablo Esco DEOE. Same thing on Instagram. I don't know his Instagram. I should have gotten that crap. And I hope you all have a great day and keep on gaming.